All right, everyone, welcome once again. It is Friday, and yes, we were laughing hysterically with Ray Ziganto here before we got on, so Kurt's about ready to fall over. I think I might even, yeah. But we will get going here, and it's Friday. It's time for Manufacturing Ecommerce Success. We're getting serious now because today we're going to talk about driving massive positive impact for manufacturers.
Yeah.
And listening to, learning from, talking to Ray Ziganto today. Kurt Anderson, co-host. Oh, right over there
There he is.
my friend. Take it away.
Dude, I can't, like, I'm tearing. I can't even.
I know, I lost
All right.
everything.
All right, we're going to get
laughing
serious,
hard for
man.
hours.
Hey,
Pretty serious.
anybody out there, drop us a note. Let us know
Yep.
you're up there. Damon, dude, I couldn't even sleep last night. Like, I was so fired up for today. So,
I
guys,
was giggling all day.
it's hard to imagine. Do we even need to do an introduction here? But I'm going to anyway. So, we have the manufacturing unicorn. We have the best mustache in manufacturing. We have the one, the only Ray Ziganto. Ray, how are you, brother?
Man, I am living the dream, guys.
Oh my God,
I'm living the
dude,
dream.
this is
Doing
like
great.
so good, man.
Yeah.
So excited. What an honor. What a privilege. We
Thanks,
go,
guys.
man, we go way back. Like, man, it's like years now. You know, like just so
Yeah.
like COVID's like flying by, isn't it?
Thank God.
So,
Yeah, about
Ray,
it.
I had the honor privilege. I connected with you with our mutual love of our life, Allison DeFord, man.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give a little shout out to Allison. I don't know if she's going to be with us today, but she did a webinar at Purdue. We're going to be talking about the MEP network today, Manufacturing Extension Partnership, raised in Illinois. Yesterday, Allison did a workshop at the Purdue MEP. Man, she absolutely crushed it. So she did an amazing job. She's your partner in crime, podcast co-host, and just, I know, mutual dear friend.
Yeah.
So, dude, here, you know what, Damon, let's go here.
Uh-oh.
Great.
Yeah.
We're going to dig into your background, all this
Uh-oh.
exciting stuff. I didn't add. Hey, there she is.
Not
There's
that far.
Allison
Not
right
that
there.
far.
Yeah. Statute of limitations.
Yeah, that's your limitations. There you go.
Allison's right there.
Wow.
Allison was talking about you. So,
Yeah.
Ray, my first question for you today. Dude, you're a repeat offender. You weren't on.
Yeah,
It's been a
recidivist.
while. I got a new question for you. Didn't ask you this one last time. Hopefully, you're sitting down for this one.
Yeah.
Young guy growing up. You've had this amazing, incredible career in manufacturing.
Yeah.
As a young guy growing up, who was your hero? Who was your hero growing up that led to the manufacturing unicorn?
It's a great question. And over the years, it's become easier to answer.
Nice.
It was probably my dad, just because, you know, my origin story goes back to being, I'm the youngest of four boys by a lot. My three older brothers are like 8, 10, and 12 years older than me.
Oh,
Wow.
By the time I come along, it's like a second family.
Yeah.
So my dad was either exhausted or whatever, but I spent a lot of time following my old man around. And back then, you know, man caves weren't a thing. He had a shop. So it's like something broke, he'd go down, you know, he had a lathe and a mill, and, you know, I was threading pipe when I was 5, and my older brothers were into cars, and I was the one that went under and changed oil and stuff. So I was just always kind of into hands-on stuff because no choice, that's what we did. So, you know, if I look back on my career, it's probably been because I've always just had an appreciation for. Don't get me wrong, I'm not exactly handy around the house, and you can ask my wife, she'll vouch for it. However, I have a ton of respect for the people that can not only fix things, dream it up, design it, build it, convert raw material, whether that's a stack of wood, a hunk of steel, whatever it is, and turn it into something.
Yeah.
And that to this day still excites and motivates me. So points back to Dad.
Well, that's awesome. Dad's name, please.
Anthony Edward Ziganto. He's no longer with us, but he had 90 good years and 1 bad month.
There you go.
So he lived a good life, and think about him all the time. But yeah, that's a large reason why I'm here.
Hey, well, God bless Anthony. He's looking down, smiling on you, my friend, and just what an inspiring story. And there's no doubt of like we'll let you. So, guys, again, we're here with Ray Ziganto. If you're just joining us, happy Friday! What an amazing, incredible way to like kick off your weekend.
Yeah.
To just really jam out here with Ray. If Ray's new to you, please go to Ray's LinkedIn profile. Check out Ray Ziganto. man, you'll thank us later. Ray, let's keep the party rolling.
Yeah.
So Anthony, your dad, 3 older brothers, you're growing up, and like, man, your superpowers, your path leads you into manufacturing. You're a global leader. You've literally worked all over the world. You've been a president of a 1,500 person manufacturing operation.
Yeah.
Why manufacturing, dude? What brought your talents, your skills, your passion into manufacturing?
Alcohol. It was the first step was my first guy I wound up working for, John Sklenar, still my best friend today.
Nice.
I went to college with his sister-in-law, and she was graduating, and she said, "You got to meet my brother-in-law, John. He's a mold maker. He just bought the company he was working for, and you're going to love him." And I met John standing around a keg of beer at a graduation party at Western Illinois University, and he was like, we hit it off for lots of reasons, and he was like, "Well, when you graduate, give me a call." Right. So I had graduated in December of 1984. Sorry about that. And I called him up. He goes, "Send me your resume." And I'm like, "I just graduated college. What resume?" You know,
yeah,
so
what's that?
So he gave me a start. I wanted to, my dad had his own business. He had a camera shop and a film processing lab. So I kind of got the small business thing.
Right.
So I wasn't afraid of this place that had, had 35 employees and 10 molding machines and stuff like that. I'm like, I knew I had to learn stuff. So I started second shift and got going, and, you get to wear all the hats.
Yeah.
And I've always enjoyed doing that. And I just went from, the small organization, went to a little larger one, and, got to flex my sales muscles, went international, got to work on operations, came back, got to do a little of both, got to run a place. So it's kind of all built from there,
Well, I'll tell you, you're very modest, very humble, and like walking through that path. Hey, Damon, we've got a lot of awesome people.
I know. I'm gonna start pulling in because we got so many people in here today.
Cole Donnelly's in the house here today.
Bryn, Whitney, Papa's, James.
Cool.
We got Allison, of course.
Oh yeah.
Diane's here.
All right.
Nicole.
All right.
Yeah, just coming on. It's coming on strong. So
that's cool. Tell your friends.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Ray, all right,
let us know you're out there.
Yeah.
Now you've had an incredible global story. Just share a little bit of like how that path took you. I mean, literally all over the world. Just walk us through a little bit. So you go from like hanging out at a keg party,
keg party.
Like you're in Taiwan, and like you're all over the place. Going from a mold manufacturer to global, manufacturing operations. Just like walk us through that path.
I had, my international aspirations kind of came from a couple places. I had the fortunate opportunity in high school to go on a school trip to Germany, and I just thought it was such an eye-opening experience. I didn't go there and feel like, oh crap, if I don't find McDonald's, I'm going to die. I loved getting familiar with the culture and stuff like that, and that kind of shaped me a little bit. Fast forward, I think I've shared with you guys, my wife is from Penang, Malaysia. We met in school. We're married over there. She's been here ever since. And it kind of, going there to get married, that was data point number 2. I was in another culture very different from the one in Germany, but I liked it and I wanted to know more about it and how do you do stuff. So I actively made a decision in my career. I wanted to get international experience. And in fact, I left one job because what I thought was going to lead to international experience, they basically said, "No, we're not going to do that." It was an injection molding company that had a great presence in the U.S., had interest in Asia. I found a partner, and at the last minute, the owner was like, "Nah, that's not the future." So I left. Actually, I wound up going to work for that partner. Lived in Singapore, lived in Mexico, came back and kind of went from there. So it was, some of it was a tactical decision on my part, strategic, that this was something I actively wanted to do, and had the buy-in from my family. We don't have kids, so for us it was easy to pick up and go, and do that type of thing. But that's I guess it was by accident. I had a little bit of intention, and the rest I just let the dominoes fall.
Well, once again, you're very modest, and hey, I want to give a
Yeah.
shout out here. A couple people we've got. Hey,
Yeah.
Amanda's in the house.
Oh,
we're gonna be geeking out about
Big hitter.
IMEC, and how about Allison? Ray Ziganto is the first person manufacturer I ever met who understands the connection between sales, marketing, and operations. That's why we call him the unicorn.
I got one for Allison. She was the first one to introduce me to the Holberman sphere. Building on that, saying, you know what, everything is connected, which I've leveraged that a lot of times. So thank you for that, Allison.
Allison's introduced us to a lot, right? The wee syndrome, Damon, staring at your belly button. So there's that Allison has introduced us to. So you know what? Let's dive right in. Let's like just geek out. We're gonna hit hard about IMEC. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So anybody out there that's not familiar with the Manufacturing Extension Partnership, that's MEPs. We have all sorts of them on this program here. And we're going to talk about, manufacturers. We were talking before we went live. Man, you're not in a silo. You are not alone. There are just immense resources. Yeah. Ray Ziganto, what is the Manufacturing Extension Partnership, this MEP network? And then we're going to dive into what is IMEC.
Here's the real high level thing. And I think this goes back 25, 26 years ago. Department of Commerce worked with, and if I get the genesis of this wrong, somebody will correct me.
Yep.
They recognized that there was opportunity to help small and medium-sized manufacturers across the country. Mm-hmm. If you look at manufacturing companies, less than 100 employees, I think it's like 300 and some thousand across the U.S. So what they did was, came up with a mandate through NIST. They created the Manufacturing Extension Partnership and went out and created these sites. There's an MEP site in all 50 states plus Puerto Rico with a mandate of bring the resources and support necessary to help the manufacturing base in your state thrive, be more competitive, and contribute to their communities. Broad goal. It's basically going to be all things to all manufacturers, which is tricky, but noble. And that experiment has proved to be very impactful over the years. I mean, if you look at what IMEC in the state of Illinois, we've got roughly 12,000 companies that fall within a NAICS category that says they're in manufacturing. Right. They do something like that. Our team last year, I think we brought value to over 1,700 of those companies. And some of that was they downloaded a white paper, they attended a webinar. Many of them, quite a lot of them in the high hundreds, we actually did on-site project work with them. And that runs the gamut because we're built, and forgive me for not knowing this across all MEPs, IMEC Illinois specifically, our service framework is built around basically the Baldrige framework, which is that connected thing. You got to have strategy. Leadership has to know what they're doing. Workforce has to have training. There's operational improvement, making decisions with data, knowing what's going on in your market. So there's about 6 different areas that we look at, and you guys see the same thing. You push down in one area and something else comes up.
Yep.
IMEC is uniquely positioned to be able to come in and say, the drill. Somebody's going to come in and say, my wrist hurts. And say, yeah, I can make that stop hurting. But once we make that stop hurting, something else is going to come into view. And we're uniquely set up to be able to share that and kind of be with those companies on a journey, because the same person that comes through the door and helps you with that first project is the same person that's going to run the project that helps you with the rest. So it's not like, okay, I just got lean training. Now who am I going to call because I think I've got trouble with staffing and recruiting or my marketing and stuff like that. And I have to start all over again explaining my business to somebody. Yeah. And you don't have to do that with IMEC.
You make a great point there, Ray, because for a manufacturer, that learning time when you bring a new specialist in to help with a problem is a long time. And if that project manager stays there and says, okay, now we've done lean training here, now we got to work on safety, or we got to work on some other thing in HR or something else we got to work on. It's so much easier because they can explain to the specialist a lot of that stuff and get it down to the this is what we need to do, rather than this is who we are.
Yeah, exactly. And it's cumulative then. It's like, well, let's pick up where the last person left off.
Right.
It's not like the next person comes in, oh, you did that all wrong. That's why my thing won't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't go that way.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's awesome. And just Damon, it was just a month ago. We had Perinda on the program with Jacqueline Kaloje. Jacqueline, if you're out there, hello, our dear friend. She was on the program and we went through a little success story through IMEC. And she said exactly that, Ray. She was like, hey, in 2015, IMEC helped me with this. And then when they came back and knocked on their door, then they offered a marketing initiative. Man, I raised my hand immediately and they dove right in. We had Louvers International. They're an LED lighting company in suburbs of Chicago. They were on the program with Michelle Fawcett over the summer. And we have a great quote where it says, these guys, as a matter of fact, I was at a workshop at an MEP here in New York yesterday. I did a little workshop and I had the slide pulled up where Louvers are saying, like, it is so easy to work with these guys. I wish I would have called them sooner, you know? So let's go a little bit deeper. So I know IMEC last year, you guys had like the Grow Your Future program. You helped over 125 manufacturers hands-on in Illinois. You had there's other grant programs going on in Cook County, McHenry County. There's a new one going on right now. Just let's take a little bit of deep dive of like some of the menu items that manufacturers could expect when they work with IMEC or other MEPs around the country.
The depth of resources. Number one, we're the ones you pick up the phone and it's like, do you know somebody that can help with this? And odds are we probably either have somebody on staff, have a third-party resource that we've already vetted and can work with, or in true Chicago fashion, we know a guy.
You got a guy.
So it's, we really can help with a wide breadth of issues and challenges. One thing to be clear, and I ran into this a few times talking to manufacturers. We're not the grant guys necessarily, but we'll be the kind of the data behind. A case in point, what we're doing with suburban Cook County and with McHenry County right now. We conducted a survey. We talked over 5,000. We surveyed 5,000 companies, manufacturers in the area. 1,000 actually completed the survey in great detail and said, here's what's keeping me up at night. What we did is went back and created like 20 plus different service offerings that address all of those things. Talked to Cook County, talked to McHenry County, and they said, you know what, we're sitting on ARPA funds to help companies bounce back. We're gonna put some money where our mouth is. So now for the companies, small, medium-sized companies that apply, these projects are fully reimbursable. Let me put that into context. Last year, our client reported impact. This isn't IMEC calling up asking the client, hey, how did we do? Client reported to a third party in terms of ROI for money they invested with IMEC was 19-1.
Wow.
That's sink in. 19-1. It's infinite if it costs you nothing.
Right. It's infinite if it costs you nothing. That's right.
It's like, that's one of those programs where it's like we're really doing what we can to bring value to the customers out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, a couple of quick shout outs here, Ray. We've got your dear friend Gals in the house.
Right.
Dan, the manufacturing unicorn. We've got, hey, it's not Damon, it's not Friday without Dan Bigger.
That's
Dan,
right. Thank God he made it.
And we were on time today, too. We were on time.
God bless your brother, Dan. And how about this? IMEC Illinois is doing incredible things for manufacturers, influencing the next generation. Now, speaking of next generation, Damon, next Friday, a week from this very minute, we're going to be on stage with look at that, 19-1.
19-1. I mean, that's crazy.
Dude, I'll take those odds all day, every day. Hey, a week from right now, we have one of your colleagues, Ray. We're going to have, we have one of your, gosh, escapes me 1 second, but we have a client of yours down in Southern Illinois and Cassie. I'm sorry, Cassie's coming on, and we're going to be doing a little case study on work that she did and we worked on together with a client success. Last Friday, we had Perrin Moody on the call on our program. He's a third-party resource of IMEC, and he has done dozens of great projects with you guys. So, all right. So grow your future marketing. Now, one of the great things about you, Damon, here's a couple of things that people say about Ray. You ready? Ray, you sitting down for this? Ray is a true unicorn who sits in the intersection of technology and manufacturing.
Let's hear it. It's me sitting there.
The intersection?
The intersection.
I'm at the intersection.
The tenet of technology and manufacturing. Ray is the complete package. Here's another great one. Passion, understanding, and focus on results. That is Ray Ziganto. So, Ray, I'm going to ask you this. Yeah. So, for folks out there listening to this, you bring in just this wealth of information, experience coming in. when a manufacturer knocks on your door, like, let's go through the starting point. Like, what does that process look like? That first engagement with IMEC?
Here's what we do is, we practice what we preach. So number one, it's build awareness. Lots of ways. We've got, Christy Johns and the marketing team do an amazing job just getting the word out there. We give away so much information, whether it's webinars, white papers, and stuff like that. Then our resources in the field, our regional managers, they've really got like the ideal. I hesitate to call it a sales gig because we always start from a place of service. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's and everything we do, our mission is really based on impact. Are we having an impact? Can you measure it? Are we moving the needle? So our regional managers, while they have responsibility for a geographical territory, a number of manufacturers, knocking on doors and getting in there, everything we do, we come from a point of service. Okay. It's like, let's have a conversation. Let's get acquainted. Let's get to know each other. It's not like, oh, I'm going to move you through the funnel and get you signed up by the end of the month. You've got to build, if we're going to be around for a long time, we got to take our time to build a rapport. And yeah, we do get the calls, the alarm bells are ringing. We're in deep stuff and, can you bail us out? Or, somebody quit and we don't know what to do. Yeah, we're there. We can help you do that. Nobody gets held for ransom. Nobody gets hard sold. The regional managers, it's an unconventional role because these are folks that, if you look at most of their backgrounds, a few of them had background in sales. Most of them are just skilled manufacturing people. They just want to come through the door and talk shop, with you. And identify problems. And when problems come up, here's the beauty of it. And we identify there's something we're going to do and a project gets launched. That regional manager sticks around as the project manager. Okay. So that's where you get that knowledge transfer. Hey, we did an e-commerce thing with Kurt. Now they're starting to get busy and the shop's starting to stumble. Maybe we should come in and do Lean 101. And by the way, we're going for ISO. And then maybe we got to do our ERP system and safety training would be great. So it's, having that continuity has just been so key, to how we do it. So it's a building process. We're not hard sell. We come from a point of service. And when our folks come through the door, they know what they're talking about.
And here's something to think about. It's if I'm not mistaken, I think on the National Association of Manufacturers, 75% of all manufacturers are 20% and less. And that, so you just mentioned, hey, we have 12,000 manufacturers. So just, I don't do the math, you've got 9,000 that are 20 people and less, and you might have 5 people, 10 people. Yeah. And so that manufacturer, like Sue Nordman is in your state. We can go down a list of a list of great manufacturers in Illinois that have been on the show, Damon. And just, Perinda, she's 5 or 6 people. It's her and her brother, It's like, man, these people are putting their heart and soul into their business. One minute they're to the finance department. Next minute they're doing operations. Next minute they're trying to do marketing. It's just so daunting and challenging. So to have this as a resource, one thing, so Damon, we've had numerous MEP folks, and what's great is they have the type of experience that they bring to the table, like a Ray Ziganto, and almost consistently and here's the question I want to ask you, Ray. They say, like, man, when I was at my manufacturer, I wish I knew about the MEP. Yeah. You were running a 1,500 person manufacturing operation. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you go back and talk to yourself, what are some things that you would like to have done differently, A, and B, like how do you see going back in time that you feel that IMEC could have helped you back in that time?
There was, I would have, by do different. I didn't know IMEC back then. So this goes back a ways, but my do different, knowing what I know now, I would have engaged with IMEC sooner. I would have been more active or involved in some of the trade associations. Associations come at it differently. They may be more on the education side or on the advocacy, in government. So I'm not an association basher. I love them.
Right.
I was in an environment, it was a privately held company that had a lot of preconceived notions about associations and asking for help. And it was largely around, what do they know?
Yeah.
Or again, it was at a time where, well, if I talk to a competitor, they're going to know what I know, and then we're going to lose all the business. Okay. So there's, and unfortunately, there's still a lot of that thinking going on today.
Right.
I mean, a lot of it.
Yes.
That happens. And it's, man, if there's a message I can get out there, if my legacy is anything, it's like, yep, Ray told us. He said there was a lot of help available. All we had to do was ask and go look for it.
Right.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. It's just knowing this when you're in the manufacturing space would have been so beneficial. I mean, all the way, I think back from very early and how much money we spent on consultants in lean manufacturing, in setting up your HR systems properly, ERP consulting, all these different kind of things that the MEPs can help you with.
Yep.
Or at least point you in the right direction. Because I'll tell you, we spent a lot of money that wasn't worth it.
Oh yeah, well, and help you avoid stepping in it. You know, I get that there's an element of pride, but you know, our job is to make our clients the hero of their story. It's not yay, you know, yay us. Right. We get give us a good review when we survey you. Give us a good. That's what we're here for. Right. You know, is the thing. So, you know, we're not here to compete with you. You know, is the thing. I look back over my career and it's like, yeah, I learned a lot of great lessons, but the most powerful lessons came from the biggest screw ups. Yeah. You talk about, you know, ERP implementation. You know, finance goes out and finds the ERP system that makes financial reports. Yeah. Now that's what we spend $300,000 on to put in for manufacturing, only to find out that we need to have 50 which have never opened an Excel doc in their life. Right. You know, what do you that have been prevented? Yeah. You know, so.
Right. Yeah. All right. So, hey, and let's hit on some of your teammates, man. So, you know, our dear friend, you know, your fearless leader, Dr. Dave Belay is just doing an amazing job. I had the honor and privilege. I met Dave in person at the MEP conference this year. We've got Melissa Zerbo, Michelle Fawcett, Chrissy Johns, you mentioned, John Azera, Jacqueline. I'm probably going to leave somebody out. And I stumbled on Cassie. Cassie, I've worked with. She's amazing. She's going to be with us next week. Amanda's here today. Megan, we've got Dave, Doug, Melissa Bassa is great. Paula has been on our program, and she's doing an amazing job on diversity and you know, women in manufacturing. We just share a little bit about like how diverse your team is and just the wealth of talent that you guys bring to the table.
You know what's been wild. A couple of things I observed when I first joined, because I for 5 years or so did the stint with NIU, you know, and came in. So a lot of preconceived notions. It was like, you know, you come in and you go, oh, okay, who am I going to have to watch out? Nobody. Everybody's cool. Who's really got the background here? Right. I'll be honest. I was used to coming through the door and hit 10 more people in IMEC that have done cooler stuff than me. Right. So that is, and the first thing I noticed is part of the onboarding thing we do is to get acquainted with your colleagues, and wrapped up to ever help you with something, just let me know, which sounds nice. Every one of them, whenever I had a question, drop them a note, bam, right now you hear from them that fast. So that's not by accident. That does not happen by accident. That's the, you know, the leadership team, you know, living those ideas through their behaviors and actively through the organization. In terms of, you know, looking over the horizon, you know, Dave knows how to see around corners. I don't know how he does it, but you know, fearless Dave. He's the one that's looking at next, and he's not afraid. You know, he knows when there's another gear in there for us to do something to help our manufacturers out there. You know, workforce is on everybody. You ever ask Dave what his PhD is in? So in terms of you know, leading edge ideas and insights in that space, you know, again, that's stuff that we're living. Paul, and until somebody proves us wrong, she is probably the only the leader on an MEP staff solely focused on helping small and medium-sized manufacturers. What manufacturer with less than 100, let alone less than 20, staff that can do that?
Yeah, Did we lose him?
I don't know. He's cutting out a little bit there. There he's back.
So,
Hey,
but
you're cutting out a little bit.
All right, but having Paul team, first of its kind for an MEP across the country, and being able to help small manufacturers interpret what is their responsibility for when their OEM customer starts pushing down DEI requirements or ESG requirements. How do they leverage that in their workforce and everything else? So, man, when I look at it, the toolkit I get to show up with, this is a dream.
Yeah,
this is a dream gig for me.
And I'll tell you, and I had we've had Paula on the show, and as a matter of fact, I interviewed her live at Chicago at the MEP conference. Yep. She tells a powerful story. It's kind of a tear-jerking story. Yeah. She is first generation. Her and her family, they came here from another country, and what her mom did is, so I asked a question like, "Hey, who was your hero?" And she talked about her mom and dad coming from another country, fearless, courageous, didn't speak the language. And what she would do on Saturdays, her mom and her mother would go stand in line at a manufacturer, because whoever was first in line, that's who they were going to bring in to work that day. And so her and her mother, as a teenager, she would go in and work in a manufacturer, and like she got choked up. Where you could go. I tell you, it's such an amazing, incredible, warming story. And what I admire about what Dave Belay, the incredible team at IMEC, what you've done, I agree. I think you're probably one of the first, I'm not getting chills thinking about it. You're one of the first MEPs that hired, a Paula of that position, and you're leading the charge on women in manufacturing, diversity in manufacturing, and how important it is. And man, she is a powerhouse. And so hats off to you guys. And then, like you're saying, you guys are tackling these tough issues. You're tackling marketing head on. Mm-hmm. You're asking your customer. So, I mean, the great thing, like you're treating IMEC, though it's not a government agency. You're a government funded, but you treat it almost like your own business, right?
You have to.
You feel like an entrepreneurial spirit at IMEC, do you not?
Absolutely. Cool. We actually, IMEC success doesn't happen by accident. It's not a function of one or two superheroes carrying the whole place on their back. Yep. Some may feel like they're doing a lot of heavy lifting, and I get it. Our processes are really disciplined, but it's not like, well, we figured out how to do this 10 years ago, so that's what we're going to do from now on. We're always interrogating. We've got a phenomenal way of collecting data. For an organization of this size, using Power BI to analyze what's going on, using Salesforce as our CRM tool, as disciplined as we do to be able to get data. We eat our own dog food, man. The stuff we ask our clients to do, we do it internally as well. So for no other reason, we can say, I get it, but here's why. So,
well, all right. So let's go here, Ray. So. Dude, you've had an amazing manufacturing career. Again, president of 1,500 person.
I'm not done yet, but go ahead.
I'm not a eulogy. I'm not like what Damon. I'm losing track of time, so I want to be mindful of everybody's time. But at the top of the hour, if you're just joining us, if you just got off a call and you're like, "Hey, what's going on here?" Man, we are with the Manufacturing Unicorn with Ray Ziganto. Do yourself a favor, connect with Ray on LinkedIn. You want to check out IMEC, IMEC, the Illinois Manufacturing Extension Partnership. So we're talking about this. So Ray, a couple of things that I want to talk to you about. You've worked with dozens, hundreds of manufacturers all over. What do you see? What separates some of the pack? What's fascinating with manufacturing, Damon, you work with a lot of different industries, primarily manufacturers, but retail, high fail rates. Restaurants are notorious for awful fail rates. Ray, why do you think manufacturers have such why the longevity? It's like they know how to run the marathon. Like, what do you see in the high performers? Why do you think manufacturing just really gets it from an entrepreneurial standpoint?
I would argue they're starting to get it again. Mm-hmm. I think if you go back, Damon's laughing. I think if you go back to some of the founding stories of a lot of companies that are now second and third generation, the entrepreneurial and innovative spirit was there. And frankly, there was a patch of time where I don't know the nice way to say this. It was
complacent.
Yes.
Is that a polite way to put it? Did people get complacent? Like, hey, we're making money. We're making widgets. We're making money and
making money. You're able to go back to the customer. I remember working in some companies. Well, first week of January, what you did was go through all all the products she made and raised the prices. And it's like, who's been able to do that recently?
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a level of complacency. I always noticed it took a shock of some sort to really drive change in manufacturing. And over the years, there's been various ones, whether it was, geopolitical, China gets into, World Trade Organization, and that created an event. There's, the various stock market collapses that happened. 2008 and 2009 took everybody with. So that was a big shock. COVID, was another big shock. And I think sometimes, like I'm a geek about research on change and change management stuff like that. If you do the research, it says anywhere practicing a new behavior for anything between 21 and 60 some days is what it takes to really groove that into a new habit. So in some cases, companies put Band-Aids on to get through the crisis in the hopes that it would go back to the way it was.
Yeah.
COVID upended that cart.
Right.
It's not going back.
Yeah.
Supply chains are going to continue to be an issue, and complexity, is going to be part of it. Workforce is not going away anytime soon. There was a study out recently. If every unemployed person right now filled every available job that's there, we'd still be short about 4 million jobs.
I
4
saw
million
that
workers.
you put that out. That's amazing. That's amazing. You put that out. I saw that. It was like, holy heck.
So it is not skills. It is bodies. Is the issue. Now, what are you going to do about it? Because every manufacturer's, I could do more if I had more people. Rethink it. Clean sheet of paper. How can I leverage automation? How can I move productivity? Information from the Federal Reserve and the National Census. Productivity of U.S. manufacturing since like World War II was on a pretty steady upward climb till about 2010, and it's actually been dropping. Let me say that again. Productivity of manufacturers is actually dropping. That's output per unit input. So there are a number of things that can contribute to that, but the reality is what we're demonstrating is for the last 12, 13 years, we kind of been running in place.
Yeah.
So is there opportunity? Let me rephrase that. Is there a sufficient incentive to want to work on that? Well, let's see. We're closer now to having an industrial policy in the United States than we ever have. Look at CHIPS Act. Look at what's going on with infrastructure and all there. I mean, there's billions of dollars finally getting thrown at manufacturing to improve things. That's one. Supply chain taught us something else. What? Reshoring. Okay. If you're going to reshore, what does that look like? Harry Mosier, you were right. But the real issue now is it's not like the big OEMs all of a sudden are going, you're right, we'll pay you a 50% premium.
Yeah.
No. I'll pay you the landed price that it did cost me from the other guy. Can you do that? So the manufacturers that are successful at managing that reshoring either have something nobody else does, or they figured out to do it for the price that it was in Asia plus freight and duty and make money at it. They're going to win. And how do you get there? Productivity.
Right. So, all right, Ray, let's go here. Hey,
I had to go. Now I just had to go. There's a moment there, Ray.
Yeah.
When he said that's 12 years or more of productivity dropping in manufacturing. I think we got complacent, just like you said. I think, we're making money, things are good. Why upset the apple cart? But everyone knows that everything is changing all the time. And I think we got a lot of people that got caught with it in the wrong position.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they got complacent.
And Kirk, to answer your question, who's, the longevity and who's surviving. I look at companies like, I know Aaron Weigel and the team at, Weigel Toolworks. Those guys, they just celebrate like their 80th anniversary. Same thing, Grandpa started the business, is a wonderful story. And generationally, they've never lost that hunger. Aaron, the current, president and CEO, had told me, I'd asked him, I was racking my brain. Why is it companies aren't embracing even the most basic stuff like machine monitoring?
Yeah.
Never mind full digital transformation. Are you doing machine monitoring? And he threw up because they've been doing it for years. He goes, I don't know. We all read the same magazines. You tell me. So, it's right.
Yeah.
It's like you got to get in there and try it, man.
Well, and the opportunities. You go, let's talk about reshoring alone, right?
Yeah.
The opportunities in reshoring. There is a way to figure out how to do it, right?
Yeah.
There is a way. But
Yeah.
you mentioned one thing. You have to just start from a fresh sheet of paper.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, if I just going to go out and do the same thing, you might as well just, you're going to beat your head against the wall. So you might as well just sit there and not do anything.
And look at the tools that are out there now. And when we talk about automating, it's not just the robot on the press.
Yeah.
You look at what's possible now in the front end of the business. Kurt, what is it you preach? How can your customer do business with you at 12 o'clock on a Friday night?
Yeah.
How can that happen? Part of your digital journey is taking away friction in your customer interaction. How do you make that more automated?
Right.
You look at guys like ProShop ERP and what they're doing, paperless. How cool is that?
Yeah.
So it's like, these are things that are accessible. It's not, Boeing isn't the only one on the planet doing this stuff,
Yes. Well, and they're honestly, I think the big companies are the last ones to do it because they had a bigger ship to turn.
Yeah, true.
You talk about that now. I think, and I'm going to geek out with Ray here just for a second. When you talk about ProShop ERP, you're talking CNC machining companies, which have the tightest margins. They have the hard. I think in the contract manufacturing world, they have one of the ugliest things to try to do.
Yeah.
And you see a thing like ProShop ERP come in and help them in the ways it does.
Yeah.
I don't know why the hell everyone's not at least researching and understand what they could do in any manufacturing company, because this technology is so much better.
Here's what's cool. I'm a technology geek. I follow what's going on in terms of startups, where investors are throwing their money. They're throwing it at manufacturing, specifically looking at supply chain. They're looking at low code or no code process, process improvement type stuff, kind of like robotic process automation, which is business flow. It's process flow. So there are startups. There are young folks that are excited about manufacturing, that get it, that are building tools for the masses.
Yeah.
Collab and everybody I'm mentioning. I'm a fanboy of ProShop. I don't have a deal. They don't pay me.
You're preaching to the choir, man. We are huge fans of Paul Van
those guys.
Cool. These are simple tools. I was in a manufacturer a couple months ago and saw how they utilized an ERP system with traditional spreadsheets and other sources. PDFs, other sources, information come to their salespeople, and they had rolled it up simply through Office 365 and Teams and Power BI and the kind of intelligence they had at their fingertips in the manufacturing for supply chain and scheduling and all this. I was like, holy heck.
Yeah.
And they spent very little in terms of technology spend and just had people that knew how to build the right things for them.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. It's just amazing.
You got to ask for what you want.
Yeah.
What would make my life easier? Ask somebody that knows. Get somebody to write a program for you. It's like,
all right. Let's catch up on, man, the chat box is just fire. So Amanda.
Yeah, they're hiring great people there.
And they are hiring like crazy. Guys, if you're in the state of Illinois, man, reach out to Amanda. IMEC, if you want to join an amazing team.
If you're not sure, call me.
Call Ray. But hey, Damon.
No, not that again. I can't hear that word.
It burns your eyes.
More times. It just makes me
bigger. It just burns your eyes. I'm not keeping up with all the comments. But Ray, dude, this is, oh my God, this is so fire. Oh my God, like there's so many things to cover right now. So last month we had one of your teammates, we had Cameron on the program. Yeah. Cameron shared, I asked her, who is your hero? You know what she said? Her Aunt Kathy. Yeah. Her Aunt Kathy was a 22-year veteran that worked at IMEC. She used to go to the office with Aunt Kathy. She was so inspired. She goes to college. She gets an internship. Where does she go? IMEC. Yeah. Next Friday, and I apologize, I had a little brain fog earlier. When we're interviewing a gentleman, Keaton. He's 22 years old. He's a college student. He's a client of IMEC. He's a fierce manufacturer. He is crushing it. Guys, he's a quiet guy. He's such an inspiration. Cassie's going to be on the program, but we're seeing this younger generation. So Ray, super exciting things going on for manufacturers. Yeah. So let's go here with this question.
Sure.
Manufacturer, 5, 10, 15 employees, maybe whatever, first generation, second generation, whatever it looks like. Okay. And they're like, man, Ray, I hear you. I just like, this thing's been handed down. We've been manufacturing this pen the way we've been doing it. I want to change, but man, I'm a little intimidated. I'm overwhelmed. I don't have that trust. Like I saw you had a great post about, trust-based relationships.
Yeah.
Okay. What advice do you have for that 5, 10, 15 person manufacturer? Like, Ray, man, I hear you, dude. I want to change, but I just don't know what to do. How can you put your arm around that manufacturer and get them into the end zone?
Position determines perspective. Okay. So number one, that manufacturer is too close to it. It's just a function of they come in and they're bombarded and everybody gets triggered by different stuff and worries of, you kind of go in the direction you're going to go in. So what you need somebody is that can help give you some perspective. Yeah. That'll look over your shoulder and say, you know what, here's your biggest issue. It might be great to focus. I read this somewhere, but it really resonated. Yeah, you might really want to focus on 5S, but based on what's going on here, wow, I would straighten out this process you got over here because you're bleeding money, because of this. And a lot of it comes down to, simple data collection. Every manufacturer I've ever talked to, I says, what's your utilization? They always give me a number of 60 to 70%. Say, how do you measure it? Oh, we do shift reports. Okay. Once you start actually doing data collection real time and you look at the numbers, almost all of them are below 50%, usually well below. So you don't even know. And you're making decisions on data that's not accurate. So what you really need is somebody that can come in, give you that perspective and get your arms around, hey, where are you bleeding? Because everybody's got something. Fix that and be aware that you're on a journey. This isn't, you're not going to get to sit back and go, whoo, it's over. It's just you're going to tackle bigger, more important issues.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather worry about a diversification push than how am I going to make payroll.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Well, dude, you just lit up. You lit up the chat box again, man. How about this? Position determines perspective. That is just so good. Whitney, happy Friday. Thank you. What else we got here? We've got so true. Sometimes you're so close, you can't see the path.
Oh yeah.
So, Ray, let's start winding down. I want to be mindful of everybody's time as we come into the bottom of the hour here. You shared with me this was the greatest job that you weren't looking for. Can you Can you? And when I said earlier, you are continuing as you are building this amazing, incredible career that's just ongoing and ongoing. Yeah. And and before we dig into that, that's I think why we all love working with manufacturers. Again, I was at a workshop yesterday. This manufacturer founded in 1957. That one over there founded in 1968. That one, the baby was like 1985. So it's like it's great how these manufacturers just get it. They are so inspiring. Ray, so just talk about you stumble into this amazing, incredible opportunity. Yeah. You weren't even looking for it. Can you just share how did you end up at IMEC?
It was funny. The short version, I had finished up a contract with Northern Illinois University that was around trying to create a better connection between research universities and small, medium-sized manufacturers. And it was a terrific learning opportunity. It's not without its challenges. Universities move, their orbit is one pace and business is another. So getting those to sync up was a challenge, but I really enjoyed being kind of back in a structured environment, stuff like that. So fast forward, it was like, boy, that was coming to an end. What do I want to do? It's like, I'm going to jump back into it. And, I want to run a company again. So in part of that journey, I was getting some interviews, talking to some folks and saying, oh, this is kind of cool. So my lady I was working with that helped with my resume. And she was like, you got to get some references online. So who am I going to call? So I called up Dave Boulay because I'd known him for years. We'd meet for coffee whenever he was in Chicago, got to work on some projects together. And I told him, I said, Dave, would you, I gave him my sad story. Here's what I'm looking to do. Would you please, be a reference? And he goes, absolutely. When do you need it? By the way, what is it you want to do? What are you looking for?
Right.
And without even thinking, it just came out of my mouth. It's like, I want to have an impact at scale, which was kind of an interesting Freudian moment for me. Ooh. And at that point, Dave, not missing a beat, goes, well, why don't you work for us? So it was like, doing what? So one thing led to another, conversations with Amanda and John and Mary Halleck, and the team. And here I am, partner relations manager. And I get to spread the good word. I manage the influencers. I build relationships, and the people that throughout the state that are actively involved with manufacturers, I make sure that when their constituents have an issue with manufacturing, that the first thing they think of is to tell them to call IMEC. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the role I was built for. Build advocates for manufacturers.
Man, isn't it just amazing? How refreshing when you find your calling, your purpose of like what you were put on, how you're making the world a better place, what you were put on this, what you're gracing this planet with to do, Ray. And it's such an inspiration. So, all right, let's wind down here. A couple more good comments here.
Uh-oh.
Damon, you got something? Here we got.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome.
All right, guys. So as we wind down, let's go here. First off, thank you for joining us, Ray. Here's my last question for you.
Yeah.
Somebody's catching this on replay. It's January of 23. We're still fresh into the new year.
Yep.
We talked about Anthony being your absolute hero growing up. God bless him. What a great father you had. Your three older brothers. You're super fired up about IMEC. We covered a lot of ground on just the amazing work that's going on at IMEC.
Yep.
For 2023. Your goal is impact for scale. Who or what is your inspiration? Who or what is your inspiration as you're just helping manufacturers smash their goals? Who's your inspiration?
Wow, that's interesting because it shifted. I guess part of it is because I get to live and breathe the stories of small and medium-sized manufacturers every day. And that still inspires me because the ones that come to IMEC want it. They've already crossed that threshold where it's like, oh, I'm not sure if we're going to ask for help or if it makes sense to collaborate or partner or bring in some outside perspective. They've already made that leap, and they've decided, I'm going to trust these folks to help me get to next. So that to me is, that growth mindset that you want it and you want to get better. And you're going to bring in a partner that's going to help everybody leverage up. That inspires me. So at the risk of being corny, it's every freaking manufacturer in Illinois that steps up to the plate and says, damn it, we're going to do better, and watch us,
Dude, drop the mic. We're just savoring that one.
Yeah.
Dude, how do you help get to next? That was the drop the mic. It's hard to top that one. How do you get to next? And Damon, we talked about this Monday. How, big word that somebody from the MEP, right? April came on and she used that famous term, courageously uncomfortable.
Yeah.
How do you get courageously uncomfortable? And exactly what Ray was talking about. Let's not get complacent.
Yeah.
There are incredible resources for you. If you're a manufacturer, I don't care. I was with a manufacturer yesterday at this workshop. He's a one-man band. Man. So if you're one person, 10 people, 100 people, man, reach out to your local MEP. There's associations, there's all sorts of trusted resources to help you. You don't need to feel like you're in an island. You're not in a silo. Reach out to guys like at IMEC, the incredible team here. Contact Ray, and man, he's going to get you in the right place. Ray, I'm going to sneak in one more question.
There you go.
We're baseball fans. You ready?
Yeah.
And we were talking about music before we went live. So Ray, you said, all right, what's next? How do let's get people across the plate. Okay.
Yeah.
Bottom of the ninth, guy on second, you're down by 1 run and you come up to the plate. Hey, what song are they playing when you walk up to the plate?
Oh,
that's a good one.
James Brown, I'm back.
James Brown, I'm back, right?
Okay. Awesome. Hit me.
Hit me. All right. Dropping the mic once you're done. So that was all right. All right.
Yeah.
Dude, how about some great comments here, man? Ray, just you know what? And the great thing is with all these amazing comments here, if you haven't had a conversation with Ray, just man of integrity, hysterical, funny, just authentic,
awesome,
kind, gracious. Just the manufacturing unicorn is right here. So, Ray, I want to thank you for your friendship. I want to thank you for what you do for manufacturers. That you brought your superpowers, your talent to IMEC is just so rewarding. I've had the honor and privilege. I work, and I'm going to apologize to anybody I didn't give a call out to or shout out to. We've had the honor and privilege working with a number of folks at IMEC. You guys are just doing magical things. I'm seeing it firsthand. So, Ray, your LinkedIn profile, your on IMEC, anywhere else that people can connect with you?
LinkedIn or IMEC, Ziganto at IMEC.org.
There we go.
Man, even if you just want to wrap manufacturing or whatever, reach out. I love talking shop. Would love to talk to anybody that's curious about what it might be like working at IMEC. This is an awesome place. Man, whether you're early stages or in the middle of your career, or you're tired of the rat race or whatever, if you want to come in and do your best work, give us a call, man. This is it.
Awesome. Bam. Okay. We'll end right on that. Guys, thank you everybody in the chat box, man. We can't express how much we appreciate Nicole, Dan, Whitney, Diane, Bonnie. Thank you, Bonnie, for being here today.
Awesome.
Allison DeFord. How about
my heroes?
Gail, Ray,
all of our heroes. Big
Igor.
hugs to everybody out there, especially Allison. God bless.
Yeah, right.
Allison.
Our big sister.
Man, Christy Johns is here.
Whoa!
Wow. Awesome.
Man,
There we go.
what a way to close it out.
Christy's amazing. The whole team.
Guys,
whole team.
have an amazing, incredible, wonderful weekend. And just like Ray here, boy, go out and be someone's inspiration. So we will see you on Monday. We have a great guest on Monday. Like I said, we have IMEC coming back next Friday. So keep crushing it. Have a great weekend. Ray, hang out with us 1 second.
You got it.
Damon, take it away, brother.
All right. Well, this was awesome. I just want to thank Ray for being here today. All the guests, the best mustache in manufacturing. And we were talking about driving massive positive impact for manufacturers. And if you didn't hear that, you need to go back and rewind and go through this again. We'll be back again next week with the Manufacturing E-commerce Success. As Kurt says, we got more great IMEC people. But if you are not in Illinois, don't fret. There is a local MEP in your state.
Yep.
Get out there, find them, get some help, get what you need. Have a great day, everyone. Talk to you later.